If your cold emails are getting ignored, deleted, or landing in spam, it's not because your offer or your copy sucks. It's because you're making one of these three deadly mistakes. And the worst part is, you probably don't even realize you're making one of these mistakes. We've helped our clients generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue by just avoiding these mistakes in our cold emails.
We've gotten such a consistent lead flow. We've gotten so many opportunities and incredible clients. I can't even count how many clients that we've gotten directly from your efforts.
And in this video, I'll break down the three biggest cold email mistakes that destroy deliverability, starting from the most obvious ones to the one that even experts miss. So, what's secretly sabotaging your outreach? Well, I'll explain everything in this video, so let's get right into it. Okay, so I've mapped pretty much all the mistakes out for you here on this Miro board here. So we'll just get started with the first mistake. And the first mistake that I see a lot of people make that causes their email to go to spam is sending from the main domain, right? So you see, your main domain is your entire reputation. If it gets flagged, your entire business suffers, not just your cold emails. So what I mean is, if you send from your main domain, and let's say a few of your emails get marked as spam, your entire domain tanks. And so when people look up your website, when they look at your main domain, or when they look at your domain, and they see that, oh, error, or watch out, this is a fishy website, warning, this website has been marked dangerous, people are just going to get turned away. And so you have to think about your website as like a 24/7 vehicle that sells your services or product. And if that main vehicle is marked dangerous or spammy or fishy or whatever it may be, people are just going to get immediately turned away because they'll be like, what am I clicking on here? This is clearly not a company that is legit. And that is the main thing why you should not send from your main domain. Because all it takes is a few people marking your email as spam and it could be done. Like, it's done. All it takes is a few people just marking your cold email as spam, and it could be done. Now, let me give you another example of this. At our agency, we have a few domains that have stood the test of time and have not been marked as spam. But all in all, most of our, not most, but like 60-ish percent, 60 to 70% of our domains get marked as spam at one point, and we have to end up swapping it. So what I'm trying to say here is you do not want to take that risk. Please, it's so much easier to just buy a subdomain, which is what you should do, rather than get your main domain and send it from there, because it is not worth it. Trust me, it is not worth it. And so the solution to this is to use subdomains that forward to your main domain. So what I mean by subdomains is you want to use your, let's say for example, your domain name is Nike.com, right? And I have it right here. If your main domain is Nike.com, you can buy a domain that is getNike.com or trynike.com, hirenike.com, etc. These are just suffixes and prefixes that you can use so that you can essentially buy subdomains. And what these subdomains will do is when somebody looks up getNike.com, it forwards to Nike.com. It forwards to your main domain. And so rather than just sending from your main domain, you want to do this because again, these subdomains these subdomains here, they don't matter. They're just throwaway domains. You're just sending cold emails from them. So they're not going to, even if the getNike.com domain tanks, it doesn't matter because the main domain, Nike.com, is fine, right? And so please, I beg of you, I cannot stress this enough. I still see people sending from our main domains to this day. And I'm like, why are you doing this, man? But this is a big thing that could be tanking your deliverability, and that could be the reason why you're landing in spam. So the first mistake is to not send from your main domain. Please buy one of these subdomains for your main domain. The second mistake, and again, is sending too fast. So if you buy email accounts, if you set up email accounts and immediately start blasting out 20, 30 plus messages a day, Google and Microsoft will mark you as spam instantly. And the reason why is because when you're buying cold emails, the best way to not end up landing in spam is by acting and mimicking human behavior. If you act and mimic a human, if you act like a human and send like a regular human, Microsoft and Google will not mark you as spam. That's all it is. That's all you have to do. And you have to ask yourself from their perspective, if you were Google or Microsoft and you saw that this guy just bought an email account and he's already sending out 30 messages a day to people outside of his organization, to people in other companies, what do you think that email account is? Do you think it's a robot? Do you think it's a real human? Do you think it's a spammer? What do you think? More than likely, if you're in Google and Microsoft shoes, you're going to think that that person is like a robot or a spammer or whatever, right? And that's the reason why you do not want to send out immediately 20 emails, 30 emails a day as soon as you set up your account, as soon as you buy your email account. Instead, you want to have it properly warm up and slowly ramp up your volume before sending so that it doesn't happen, right? Because if you end up immediately sending out cold emails as soon as you buy your account, what'll happen is Google and Microsoft will be like, okay, this guy's clearly a spammer. We're gonna block his account because he just bought this new account just to start spamming people, and so it's not worth it, right? So you have to please warm up your email accounts. Tools like Instantly and Smartly, they have warm ups built inside of their tools, and so all you have to do is connect your email account to Instantly or Smartly, and then just click on the warm up button for about 2 weeks, and you should be fine. That's it. So all you have to do is just warm up your email accounts before sending to them. That's literally it. And if you want like a full bulletproof checklist guide to avoid landing in spam to book more calls, I have a free guide inside of my community that you can just click below, click in the description below and join. And this guide pretty much goes over everything that you do need to not land in spam, and it goes super in depth and in detail. That I'm not going to go super in depth in detail in this video on, but like it goes to the nitty-gritty detail on how to avoid spam and how to book more calls by not landing in spam. So if you want that guide, guys, it's inside my school community. Press the link in the description below, join it, and you'll get this guide. But yeah, the second step or the second mistake is do not send emails too fast. Let your email accounts warm up and you'll be fine. The third and final one is you're sending the same message to every single person on your list. And you might be like, okay, well, Arian, when I send out cold emails, should that not be the thing? Like, aren't all my messages going to be the same? Yes and no. Let me explain why. So even if your message is personalized, Google and Outlook see that 90% of the content is the same, right? So even if your email, let's say you're looking at a cold email, right? A cold email will have like, hey, hi, name, we can help you book 10 to 20 more calls every single month, let's say. And even if that name is different every single email, 90% of the content is the same. 90% of it is the same. And when multiple inboxes send nearly identical emails, they get flagged as mass automation in their deliverability tanks. Because Google and Outlook will be like, okay, this guy is just sending the same shit to every single person. He's just swapping out the name or the company name that he's sending to. That's it. Mark the spam. And at a mass scale, like when you're sending 1,000 plus a day or like 800 plus a day, Google and Microsoft will mark you as spam if you don't do this. And so what you want to do instead is use spin tags. It'll help you rotate subject lines, switch up the CTA, and change parts of the email body. So even if we're sending a lot of emails, they all feel different, and that keeps us out of spam. So what spin tags is, and I'll show you here, it's pretty much this type of stuff in your copy. So instead of saying hi name, you can say hello, hi, and hey. And in the English vernacular and English language, it's all the same thing, but you're just saying it a different way. Do you get what I mean here? And you can do this, you can do this for your entire email copy, like literally entire email copy. Your subject line, your introduction here, like I have here, the email body, the case studies you have, the offer, the CTA. You could basically say the same shit, just said in a different way. So here's what spin tags will look like inside of Smartly and Instantly, right? Instead of saying hey, hello, you can say hello, hi Chris, hey John, whatever it may be. But it's pretty much the same thing, just wrapped around differently. It's just said differently, all right? And I'm sure you're starting to see how powerful this is, because this is just the introduction. Now imagine if you do like the call to action, right? Instead of saying interested in learning more, you can also say open to hearing more, open to learning more. Would you be interested in learning more? So there's like multiple different ways of saying the same thing, but it fundamentally is the same thing. All right. So this gets super powerful because Google, Microsoft will be like, okay, this guy is not sending the same thing to every single person. He's not only is he sending different names, but he's also sending a different message. And so it's super powerful, and I highly recommend you use this. So for example, when you use mass spin tags, here's what the deliverability rates look like, and here's what the positive reply rates look like. This is for a client that we have, and he is getting very high reply rates, very high positive reply rates. simply because we are spin taxing the entire email. And I kid you not, when we first implemented this for ourselves and our clients, our reply rates went up by an entire percent. Like it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. All by just we didn't even change the content of the email. We just spin taxed the email, and it literally got more replies because you're landing in the inbox more. And so if you can do this, this is super, super, super powerful. And I highly, highly, highly recommend you guys do something like this. So yeah. By the way, that same client, he's now in the midst of closing new deals. As you can see here, I was like, hey, do you have any updates on closing? This is actually yesterday or 2 days ago. And he was like, yeah, this person should be a go. This person gave me the verbal green light. This guy's a hot lead. He wants to move forward. And yeah, this is the type of stuff that happens when you spin tax your emails, because this is like next level stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, to kind of give you a summary of this entire video, you never want to send cold emails from your main domain. It puts your entire business at risk if your domain is flagged. You don't want to send out too many emails too fast. You want to warm them up slowly and then send it out. And you want to avoid using the exact same email copy over and over again. Instead, you want to use spin tax to keep things fresh and human. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much the video. And if you are a B2B business and you want us to do this entire system for you, this entire process for you, to book your 10 to 20 calls a month, click the link in the description and we will handle all of that for you. For example, we helped Deepak generate $270,000 in revenue in 8 months. We helped Renee from First Rate Digital book 57 meetings, sign 8 new clients. There's another client closing another deal with somebody that we booked him. And yep, thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.